And we're live. Happy Sunday, everybody. Another week has flown right by. What's the weather like where you are? Tell me where you are if you're tuning in. And I'm just letting everything kick over. And if you were watching last week, it cut out halfway through and did not tell me it had cut out. It just said unstable, but that was it. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we are all good for this week. But if anything happens, I will reshoot as I did last week and put it up again. So if you watched that and you got halfway through and you're like, where's the rest of it? I actually reshot it and put it up as a just a long form video. So it is in there if you are interested. All right. So this week I came across something very interesting on the old Instagram. And I thought I would do a little deep dive into it because I was interested in it for myself, which is when I'm always sharing it with you guys when it's something that I find interesting, right? And it's something called, I have to read it. It's called, it's called Pycnogenol. So that's a good one, right? Pycnogenol. I assume that's how you say it. I have never heard of this before. Apparently, it's all over TikTok, but I don't do TikTok, so I hadn't heard of it. So we're going to do a little slideshow on it. So let me share my screen. There we go. Alrighty. So this always makes me fuzzy, but that's okay. You don't need to see me so much as the slides. All right. So this is what it's called and how it looks. Pycnogenol. I'm guessing that's how you say it. And it's being touted as a bit of a miracle supplement for lipedema. So that's when I was like, oh, is it really? Are there any miracles? Don't know. So let's have a little looky, shall we? But as usual, before we get into it, I am Kylie. If you've not been here before, I have Hashimoto's. I had a hysterectomy. I have lipedema. I had a double knee replacement. I had a gastric sleeve, and I turned my life around at 51 years of age. I am now 55. So you can go from this to this in as less than 5 years. So was it easy? No. Did I have to keep putting one foot in front of the other? Yes. But was it worth it? Absolutely. I'm not in pain every day like I was. I don't find exercise excruciating. Life is so much better, even though it was really hard and tricky and expensive and time consuming. People say gastric sleeve is the easy way out. Oh my goodness. No, it is not. So I just put this up to show you that I've had all the things, right? But you can change your life. All right. Disclaimer. I am not your doctor. I do not know your medical history. So please be a grown-up. If you're going to change anything or decide that looks like a great idea, let's do this. I do have a health background. I'm a naturopath and clinical nutritionist. However, I'm only an expert on my health, not yours. All right. So be a big girl and get it checked out if you think you might be interested in anything that I say or do. All right. What is Pycnogenol? I'm going to struggle with this word. Now, it is a plant extract from the French maritime pine tree. And this is it. I had to go looking for one that I could share without copyright. But this apparently is what a French maritime pine tree looks like. Now, my understanding is it comes from the bark, but that's undecided, but that's my understanding so far. And it contains polyphenols, procyanidins, bioflavonoids, and phenolic acids. It is widely recognized as a potent antioxidant and anti-inflammatory. So that's what it is. How does it help us? Well, it seals leaky vessels. Now, this is about the blood stream. This is about our blood vessels. So anyone particularly with venous insufficiency and that kind of thing, this helps with the blood. And I'm going to show you how that interplays later on, because I was like, yep, but it does and it doesn't. Now, how do I say this? It is and it isn't relevant from lots of different perspectives. It depends on your personal presentation of lipedema, right? But if you think about the bruising, that comes from fragile capillaries, right? So this helps with the capillaries and venous return and that kind of thing. So it actually helps to seal leaky vessels in our body. It improves permeability in the capillaries, so it stops that fluid leaking into the tissue. It calms inflammation, and that's very relevant to us. It downregulates inflammatory cytokines, so that's the inflammatory response that causes all sorts of problems in our body. It boosts nitric oxide, which we need for good blood flow, good cardiovascular system setup, and you know the way it works. And it is an antioxidant, so it protects our cells from free radicals and oxidative damage in our body. So that's kind of what it does in a nutshell. But here's the thing with lipedema. They did a study, right? And this is what's been all over the place. So they did a 60-day study in Brazil, 100 women with lipedema, and they took 150 milligrams of this in 50 milligram portions 3 times a day. They got a 29% reduction in overall symptoms of lipedema. So they had significant relief in leg swelling, heaviness, tenderness, and bruising. They had an 8% reduction in body fat compared to the placebo group that were not taking this, and an improved satisfaction with leg appearance and overall quality of life. So this is what's all over the place. And it's one study, right? So we have to remember it's one study. However, it looks really promising. Okay, so it's sort of one of those things that you have to pay attention. So we can only ever, I look at studies that like, oh, okay, the science says it's promising, the science says this, but then I look at, okay, how does it affect me personally, right? Because science can't tell you how it's going to affect you personally or me personally. So that's kind of the next step. But I always start with, well, they've done a study so far, perhaps it's something to add to your list of things to try, right? And I'm always about trying things. Okay, so that's the clinical data and why it's all over the place. So the limitations and side effects to this supplement. Now, as much as we want a miracle pill, we don't even have a miracle blood test for this to find out that we definitely have it. So there is no miracle pills. As much as you might see a TikTok or something saying, this is it, this is the answer, there is no one answer, okay? So it targets the vascular side, as I said, it targets the bloodstream, which is not enough to stop lipedema in its tracks, right? So you still have to have a multi-pronged approach to this. So it might be helpful and it might improve things, it might lower your bruising and that sort of thing. However, it's still like anything, you kind of need a bit of a toolkit, right? So you need to possibly pair it with the appropriate diet for you. So for me, that's kind of carnivore. When I'm out of control, I bring it back to carnivore. Compressions, movement, lifestyle, whatever. My video that I dropped last week, because the weekend one cut out, it's my 4 pillars of a baseline of what I go back to. So for you, this might work with you, whatever your pillars are, whatever your baseline is of what makes you feel good and what makes you feel good in your body with lipedema. The problem with it is, though, it can cause digestive distress. So if you already have a sensitive tummy or digestive issues already, it can actually cause cramping, nausea, bloating, reflux, and diarrhea. And it's the most common cause for people to stop using it as a supplement is because of this digestive distress. So if you're already struggling with gut inflammation or you have a sensitive tummy, go very carefully, I would say, with this, okay? But that's like any supplement. And as I say to you often, the reason you go see a naturopath, the reason you go see an integrative doctor and so on, is simply because they can look at everything else you're taking. They can look at your other situations, actual medications, that sort of thing, and tell you that, yep, won't hurt you, give it a shot, or you know, oh no, this is going to interact with XYZ that you're taking, so I probably wouldn't. So that's why we kind of go see somebody. But, you know, you do you. All right. Okay. So I would just go steady on it. if you've got digestive issues to begin with. All right. Because I know you're going to ask me, because you always do, which one do I buy? I went hunting and I found on iHerb one with Now Foods, so a very popular brand, and iFoods ship internationally. So I haven't actually yet had them shipped to me here in Thailand, but I'm actually going to order the one I've suggested here. I'm going to actually order for myself because I know what else I'm taking. So I know I can take it safely. Disclaimer. And the one that I'm going with Now Foods, so there's a downside and an upside. It's most of them actually are 100 milligrams in the capsule. I did find one which was Swanson's, which was 50 milligrams. So if you wanted to take the 50 milligrams 3 times a day, like in the study, there was only one that I found that allowed for a 50 milligram capsule, and it's a powder in a capsule. So it's not like you can easily like chop a tablet in half or something like that. So this one with Now Foods, it actually is 100 milligrams. So you could probably start by having, I'll put it this way, I'm going to order it and I'm going to probably start with 1 a day, see how it affects my tummy. And then if I feel like everything's going okay and I'm sort of, it's all right, then I might jump it to 2 a day. The bottle does say 1 to 2 a day. So there doesn't seem to be any issues apart from those side effects we've already spoken about. As to taking more than 150 milligrams, which was what was in the study. So that's what I'm going with. So the one that I'm actually going to just pop it in the chat. So, and the other reason I picked this particular one, copy, paste. Okay, so the other reason I picked this particular one, the Now Foods one, is because it has amla in it. If you don't know what amla is actually Indian gooseberry. And I come across amla a lot in my research. It's an Ayurvedic herb, and it's really good for all things that are to do with me. So all things hormonal, thyroid, I'm going to say lipedema, all of those sorts of things, right? They all, amla seems to help because it helps with the lymphatics. So while the Pycnogenol works on the blood vessels, the amla works on the lymphatics and also calms our mast cells, right? So the mast cells activation is a cause for concern. And the vitamin C, because amla is really high in vitamin C, is a natural antihistamine. We've talked about that. So I thought that's a really good one. Combining the Pycnogenol with the amla sounded really like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, that's the one. Okay, now it's not cheap. I can't remember what it was now. I looked at it. It was about, gosh, was it, did I leave that? No, I didn't leave it up. I'm going to say it was $50-something for like a 30-day supply. It was like, it was quite up there, but not out of the realms of possibility, right? So the other one that I found, which was just the Pycnogenol, if you don't want the amla, and it was a brand called Swanson. So make sure you copy and paste these, or I think if you click on it, it'll open in a new tab for you. I'm not sure. You can tell me. But they're the two that I found that I was like, so the Swanson one was about the only one in all the Pycnogenols, and there was quite a few. So this is obviously way more common than I realized it is to have so many different brands producing it. It was the only one that I could find that had the 50 milligram capsules. So if you wanted to follow that study, you could have 3, a day. But I really, really love the idea of having it with amla. That really sings to me personally. So I'm like, that's the one I'm going to have a go at, is that one. So I probably won't be trying it, though, till after my surgery. So I have surgery next month, and, you always have to stop having any supplements, 2 to 4 weeks prior to surgery and all that sort of thing. So I'm going to start this after the surgery, and that'll give it plenty of time to arrive for me as well. So depending on how long it takes. And I think that's all. Oh, no. Okay. So there we go. That was my roundup. It's something for the toolkit. It's something to consider, right? It's not a miracle pill. It might help you, it might not. Be careful if you've got a sensitive tummy. Combine it with all the other things. Combine it with the compressions. Combine it with movement. Combine it with calf raises. Are you doing your calf raises? Right? I'm back to 150 twice a day in the shower for my calf raises. Does it take an extra few minutes? Yes. But does it help? Yes. Right? So it's just going, right, this is my lot. This is what I've got. This is what I'm doing. I'm just doing it. All right. So, and yeah, your compressions, vibration plates, whatever else it is that you have going, in your toolkit, consider it a part of your toolkit to try and then see how you feel about it. Just remember, no amount of supplements can counteract a diet high in processed foods and seed oils. I promise you, no supplement can out-supplement that diet, and no amount of supplements can counteract hormones that are completely out of whack. So if your hormones are still way out of whack, whether it's your thyroid hormones, whether it's your cortisol, so high stress, whether it's whatever it is, if your hormones are way out of whack, your blood sugars, your insulin, that all of that is hormonal, then work on that first. Don't waste your money on a supplement when all of that's going wrong, right? You've got to fix that sort of stuff first, in my opinion, okay? I think that you're wasting money on supplements if you've still got the kind of things that you can fix by getting your head around having a low-carb diet or finding the appropriate diet for you, right, or for me. So I don't waste money on things when I'm being brutally honest with myself that, well, Kylie, you've been eating too much bread lately, so how about we stop eating the bread before we worry about an expensive supplement? That's the hard truth I give myself, and so that's the truth I'd like to offer to you, that maybe, just maybe, there are other things that you can remove and do something about how you feel before you spend money on a supplement. But you might be all in on the supplement as well. That's up to you. Okay. All right. That's it. And that's me. Try everything, because you never know, right? And I say I'm going to unshare screen. There we go. Now, I say try everything, and at the same token, I say don't bother if you're, doing X, Y, Z still. I'm just trying to give options, and I'm just trying to tell you how I work. It's how I am brutally honest with myself. Because if I'm not honest and truthful to myself, then I will try all kinds of weird and wonderful things, because that's who I am. I'll just try anything that I think might be helpful or useful or whatever. And that's great, but I don't want to do it if I'm just wasting my money, okay? Or I could be, causing more problems because I'm also having a different supplement, or I'm doing something that's going to interact, So be honest with yourself before you try another supplement. Are you doing the other things first? Sometimes it's taking a supplement. So I'm going to guess that these women in these studies that they did maybe weren't doing all the good things. Maybe they weren't. Maybe they were just normal women that still ate a standard American or Australian diet, and maybe they purposely picked those sorts of women so that to see if the supplement would work just with nothing else going on. Because often I do my challenges like that, right? I make sure I am not doing anything else different before I start the challenge, so that I know that whatever the results are from that challenge. So I'm going to say the study is the same, but they did do a placebo group. So if it's a double-blind trial, then I'm going to say regardless of what the women who were taking it were doing or not doing, the same with the placebo group, and they still had results. So maybe sometimes a supplement or something like that helps us stay accountable or makes us feel better has a knock-on effect and helps us to exercise more, helps us to move more, helps us to be a little bit more consistent with wearing compressions or getting on the vibration plate, or, eating a sort of a stricter diet with less processed foods. They can all have a kind of knock-on effect, right? So again, you do you. That's just how I work. For the most part, I'm kind of happy with my everyday, I was going to say routine. Yes, I could do a little bit better on the treats front for sure. I'm working on that one. But when things aren't looking great, when I'm always tracking, my measurements and my weight and all that sort of thing, then I'm very truthful with myself about, well, you know what? You know why that's gone up, or you know why you're more inflamed, or you know why you're getting, I was going to say your bruises, but that was from a blood test. And so that's 2 weeks ago now from my last thyroid blood test. So it is what it is, right? So that's it from me, unless anyone has any questions. And I know there's a lag because if you get ads, apparently, because my husband has watched this and he goes, oh, and I finished it and he was still watching it. I'm like, how are you still watching it? And he goes, there's ads. And I'm like, oh, right, because on our main channel we have YouTube Premium, so I'm not used to ads or understanding how they work or anything like that. So you might still be watching this after I finish, but I have the settings set to seeing the comments later. So even if you comment, I will see it once it's processed and done its thing, done its little YouTube thing. I don't know how it works. On that note, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe and join along for the ride. And otherwise, let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you've tried this Pycnogenol, and if you had any results from it, because I'd be really curious to hear. Yes, ads interrupt your talk. Yeah, it's so weird. See, I don't think about the fact that ads, because I spring for YouTube Premium, best money we ever spent. I have to tell you, if you're a YouTube watcher, which we are, we don't watch normal TV. We just kind of watch YouTube. And we've for years now had a YouTube subscription. Fun fact, we canned it when we left Australia and we got it again when we got here. And it was like half the price because it's in Thai baht. Winner. But yeah, we wouldn't watch it with the ads now. I've got to be honest. It's it's lovely to not think about the ads. Anyway, that's it from me. And any questions or any comments or any input, if you have got something you can contribute to the conversation about Pycnogenol, please, because this was new for me. Never heard of it. And I'm always very, very curious about things that I haven't heard of. And I want to know real people's experiences with it. I don't want to hear the studies. I want to hear, have you had it? Have you used it? What did it do for you? Because that's generally how I actually make my decision on trying something. It's not so much seeing the studies. I then see who else has done it. And if I think, well, you know what, they're similar to me, I can start like them and I can have a go. But it still always comes down to, how does it affect me? That's the bottom line. Anything we try, anything in our toolkit, anything in our safety system, our baseline, how does it affect you and me, right? That's all that matters. All right, my friends, I hope you're all doing well, and I will see you all next Sunday night. Same time, same cup of decaf tea, and have a great week, won't you, everyone? Bye.